Hello and welcome inside the scores table. Brian Haenchen, Danny Riego here with you. Midweek show. Couple games of note, Danny. A lot of chalk and blowout so far. I realized that as I went through the scores tonight. Maybe it was a stupid night for a show, but I'm going on vacation after tonight, so the hell do I care? You had Marion County Championship game last night. Tonight I was at LaPel Eastern Hancock. You've been streaming some games. And it will be able to set the table too for what is a big weekend ahead. And we're going to have Hall of Fame Classic next week. So plenty to get to nonetheless. But how are you, buddy? What's new?
I'm good. I stayed in. It's usually a night where I would have gotten out. There were some games of interest, but had some other things going on. But I think what's interesting is this is like we're approaching like the halfway points of the season. Right. Mm-hmm. And so now I think we're starting to see, I'm going to talk to a couple of players tonight, I think, that are on our guest list whose roles have even changed through the first half of the season. Teams are starting to emerge and, you're posting rankings and things like that. Kids are getting healthy. So I think there's a lot to unpack with this. Let's do it.
Absolutely. And Danny mentioned the guests. We're going to have Pike's Denia Warren and Savea Mitchell with us here in about 10 minutes or so. Then we'll be joined later by Kenzie Cook, Bellis Attell from Eastern Hancock coming off of their loss to LaPel. A really competitive game there for Eastern Hancock. Danny, since we're going to start off the night with Pike and their Marion County Championship win 75-54 over Hancock, let's talk about that game first. Sure. You could go – I feel like the score is indicative of the talent discrepancy, and I see that as the highest of compliments to Pike. We'll get to Hancock here in a minute. That's a darn good basketball team. There was a little bit of a lull in the third quarter where Pike let Roncalli back into the game, but then it's just like they put the pedal to the metal, and they are off again, and before you know it, it's a 20-point game, which is pretty remarkable. So athletic, so physical, and I think in talking to Jason Sims after the game and just in watching with my own eyes, I think that was probably the best by far of the three teams that Roncalli had to play, Franklin Central, Lawrence Central, and Pike. I don't think that either of the first two are finished products yet, and Pike certainly isn't either, to be clear. There's a lot for them to clean up. Keith Hollins will be the first to tell you that, and he will tell you that. But that as it is now, in terms of personnel, the strides that they've taken since I first saw them against Avon, that's a really good, really well-rounded basketball team.
It is. I don't want to get too far down the road on Pike before I mention the performance that Elliot Loeffler had, not just in this basketball game, but the entire tournament. That kid is put her on the Indiana Junior All-Star team. That kid was so good and really carried them in a game that I think probably needed it. And without that Elliot Loeffler performance, that thing probably could have and would have gotten out of hand. All right. Having said that, I have a very different perspective on the Pike thing. Okay. And I think people will get fatigued when I say this. Okay. But I really think that Keith Hollins coached a great game. And I think it led up to the pregame. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't know if it was related to Deanne Ramey's comments. When I asked Coach Ramey, and I think people know this, right? Coach Hollins and Keith, they listen to the show. And I asked her just a very open-ended, like, how do you stop Pike? And we started having discussions about how they had 6 players, even with Divine out, that hit 3-pointers and all of that. I think Keith went into that basketball game suspecting that that Coach Sims was going to stay home on his 3-point shot. And he went to his flat ball screen offense and attacked switch with shooters in the corners to hold help in the corners and played 3-on-3 in the middle of the floor. And that's why I think that he said, have Denia Warren on the show, have Savea Mitchell on the show. Savea Mitchell was so effective in that middle ball screen. And you saw him attack switch. You saw him put him in hedge. There was indecision. I thought Pike, quite frankly, all due respect to, I don't mean to be too over the top with this. I thought they cut them up in the middle of the floor. And I thought it was clinical. I thought it was strategic. And I was really impressed. If the two things are related, that Keith suspected that they were going to stay home on the shooters, and he goes to a middle third ball screen offense, that I find very impressive. And it's not something that we should be, I don't think, surprised at, Hank.
Yeah, I mean, it was brilliant. Brilliant. I think you nailed it and encapsulated there perfectly. I mean, defensively too, their ability to speed up Roncalli, generate those turnovers and get out and transition so quickly is remarkable. They come at you in waves. And even when the offense isn't firing on all cylinders, there were some turnovers, there were some lulls in the offense, which happens. It's high school basketball, and it can be easy to forget that. The defense was always good enough to pick it up, and they're good enough. They're physical inside. Just everybody. Everybody's physical. Even the small play, Sanaya Smith, who we've talked about, she's having a brilliant season, is just as physical and just as tough inside as Marley Jeffers, as Kamari Booker. Marley Jeffers, by the way, 14.7 rebounds. Savea Mitchell, 14 points, 10 rebounds. Kamari Booker, 12 points. Just so many different ways to beat you, man.
All right. You said Jeffers had 14, you said?
Yeah.
Mitchell had 14 and Booker had 12?
Yep.
Okay. Those are the three players that were the most effective in the middle third, right? Like the statistics bear out what I thought that I saw. And it wasn't so, and this is going to be too granular. I'm going to nerd out here and you guys can make fun of me later on this. But like part of that offense is after you set the screen, the person that sets the screen rolls to the basket in a rim run. The person that is under the basket then rolls up on the opposite side of the ball handler. It's called a roll and rise or roll and replace. It's a relatively basic motion in the middle third. He was getting that kind of motion, but later in the game, they did one where they just spun the screener out and then ducked Booker in without running the full rise. He got that look. That led to a Booker basket. Coach Ramey, who was on the color for the broadcast, pointed out how she thought that there was a more dedicated effort to get into the post. I saw that too. And I think a large reason why they did that, you mentioned inside Coach Ramey on the telecast and now me again for a third time. I thought they caught Ron Colley in some switches and some hedges that I think were not favorable. And even if they just started in that match, like that duck in that I was talking about with Booker in the third quarter, like that is like real on the fly adjustment coaching to win 2 basketball games now in the Marion County tournament in 2 different ways. Let's make a bunch of threes against this team, increase the pace, crash the offensive glass and go to war. And then let's play ball screen action and kind of pick on them. Savea Mitchell is interesting that she's on the show because she was really, and we'll talk about this, she was kind of just like 3 and D kind of coming into this. Like, let's make some threes. Let's play defense. By the way, shot 42% from 3 coming into this basketball game. She only shot 1 3-pointer in the Marion County Championship game. She missed it, still finished with 14 points, and she did all of her damage in ball screen and downhill. And I thought it was really impressive for a freshman to be able to do that.
Damn impressive. Damn impressive. On the other side, Ron Colley, you mentioned Elliot Leffler, 30 points, 8 rebounds, a steal. She ended up fouling out late. Cleared 1,000 career points late in the game. There was at the beginning of the game, it was Elliot matched up against Kamari Booker. And I was like, oh God, this isn't going to go well for Elliot. And it's nothing against Elliot, but size-wise, Kamari Booker is a very intimidating figure. And as the game went on, it's just kind of like, oh shit, Elliot's holding her own. Not only is Elliot holding her own, she's finding ways to get to the basket. She's fighting through traffic. She's showing off that range and versatility that she has as a shooter. And it's so cool just how her game has evolved. And I'm sure that you have a different perspective having seen her, more frequently than I have. But that kid, she looked like she belonged out there. I mentioned that to Sims. Like, she looked like a kid who belonged out there with the others. And I don't say that as like I was surprised or anything like that. It's just a testament to how talented a basketball player Elliot is. And just, that felt like a reminder, I guess. It's not really a coming out party because a lot of people, she's a household name at this point. It's kind of like a reminder of I'm really stinking good. And what a way to finish off a brilliant tournament run by her.
There is no greater tip of the cap that you can get from an opposing coach, Pike's opposing coach, than coming down in the first offensive possession and seeing Kamari Booker on you. Ask Hannah Menser, ask Ada Hupfer, ask Peyton Duvall, ask all of the kids that Keith asks to guard. Now, I do think that is one thing to watch with Pike moving forward is he toyed around with some different defenses. A lot of the times you saw Booker maybe at the top of odd front zone. Keith was kind of playing around a little bit. I think the Pike last year would have put Kamari Booker on Elliot Leffler in court man and just played her for 30 out of 32 minutes and made her chase her around. I think the next evolution of Pike is going to be this. How do you manage Kamari Booker's minutes spinning forward? Meaning, when he brought Elliott did most of her damage when Kamari Booker was not guarding her. And I'm not picking on the other kids that were guarding her. Elliott's an extraordinary basketball player, but I think Kamari Booker, and you've heard me call her this on this show, the best defender in the area. I think I called her the best defender in the state. I don't think that's too far. So I think Keith did try some other people on her, but in the state tournament, like let's say, for example, it's Lawrence Central versus Pike. Okay. Like, is Kamari Booker going to go 30 minutes on Lola Lampley? Like, is she going to go 30 minutes on Kiki Butler, whoever he feels like at that time? So I think that's the next real evolution. I think Pike made a huge statement because they told everybody that we can beat you in two different ways. We can beat you from the 3-point line, and we can beat you in the middle of the floor attacking. Like, you better be sure how you're going to play that high ball screen, or we're going to cut you up. So, but that defensive side, like, I love watching Kamari play defense, man. And Elliott, yeah, she did great, but let's watch that moving forward.
I tell you what, too, watching Roncalli, the big broad takeaway is, I mean, they're just as good probably as anybody in 3A, right? I mean, look at the teams they've beaten and look at how, I mean, that game against Pike, again, like they started clawing their way back, and it wasn't a matter of Pike letting off the gas. It was a matter of Roncalli making plays. The defense tightened up. They started playing Roncalli basketball, as Sim described it, and they started to find some traction and went on a little bit of run before Pike outmuscled them and pulled away as they're wont to do. But I mean, it's going to be that 3A South Band is going to be really good with Roncalli. You have Silver Creek, Greensburg, Washington,
Jennings County,
yeah, Jennings County,
Evansville Central,
yeah,
even for Charlestown, like, yeah, it's going to be loaded.
It's going to be extremely deep, but I think toward the top of that pile is Roncalli. Like, I don't know how you couldn't consider Roncalli among the top teams there, even after the loss last night.
So they have the experience advancing all the way to the Cathedral game last year, the deep postseason run. Now you have the deep postseason run. We talked about the leadership of Roscoe and Cerny. We talked about the emergence of the offensive game of Elliott Leffler, all of the experience that's kind of coming about, right? But come sectional time, come regional time, and I don't want to, let's not get too far down the road with them, but come sectional time, come postseason time, this is going to be a very seasoned, experienced basketball team in a lot of different ways. And I think that's going to bode well because in those postseason games, right? I mean, and that's why I'm celebrating Pike and winning it in Central third ball screen here, is because I really like it. And you guys have all heard me say this before. I like it when teams can win in different ways, because I think that's what it takes to get past these kind of early round scares. I think what we're seeing is not just a team that's good enough for a postseason run, but a team that's getting better and more experience in different situations. This game was very good for Roncalli. And they will fall back on the experience that Pike gave them, and they'll make adjustments. There will be, like, let's take Washington, for example. Okay. Washington has a formidable front line with Katie Reed and London Gilly, like a very Pike-like Division I front line that can go high-low in that middle third. They've got great guards like Hawk. Like, if Roncalli were to play Washington in a basketball game where one goes right and one goes left, or excuse me, one goes right and the other season ends, Roncalli's going to fall back on the experience that they have against Pike and playing a similar system to be able to combat some of the concepts maybe that Washington would give them. But I said going into at the end of the show last time previewing this, that I thought the biggest conclusions drawn from the Marion County tournament were already out there. And that was that Roncalli is for real.
Yeah, absolutely. Denia Warren and Savea Mitchell will be here in just a second. Denia, once you get your camera on, we'll bring you on stage with us. There she is. So we'll go ahead and bring them on. Savea Mitchell, Denia Warren of the county champion Pike Red Devils. How are you guys doing? How are things?
Good.
Great to see you. Let's just start off with that win last night. Denia, let's start with you and defensively. I mean, coach spoke very highly of you and your defensive effort. Danny and I both saw it on tape too. I mean, just what was your approach going into last night? And I guess just if you could assess your performance for us.
As a senior, honestly, we haven't won county yet, so I just had to come in with the mindset of we have to win. Especially with players being hurt and us, everything was just on the line. The box, county, so we just had to go in and win. I had to do my part.
I think we lost Savea. We'll get Savea once her camera pops back on. Here. So Coach or Savea actually last night talked about kind of Roncalli knocking off Lawrence Central, sort of like not a wake up call, but just a reminder that anybody can beat anybody. What was the message in the locker room? And as a senior, how did you make sure that everybody was kind of bought in and not getting caught, wouldn't get caught overlooking Roncalli?
We actually watched the game, and I told them while we watched the game, don't take the underdogs for granted, because they came far, and I also told them we came very far as well. So don't go out here and lose. At the end of the day, we had to do what we had to do to get the win.
One more for me before I let Danny ask a couple. I mean, just for you as a senior, you mentioned how long it had been for Pike since you guys have won one of these. Just to go out with the county championship, obviously bigger goals ahead, but to get this one, I guess, just what does it mean to you?
It felt great. Especially with my role, it felt great to share that moment with my teammates. The freshmen coming in, it just was a great team moment.
Go ahead,
Denia, you mentioned the word role. Would you put into words what your role is for us? I mean, this we're trying to figure out who all the different pieces on Pike are and how they all fit together. Okay. But Keith obviously trusts you. He starts you. He plays you in normal rotation. You being one of the elder statesmen of the room, like what is your specific role on this team?
I'll just say leader. I'm the leader of the group. Vocally, energy wise, defensively. I just make sure everything's put together so that, and then I get people where they need to go. Just being a leader throughout the whole game and on the court, on and off the court.
You know, it seems like too, and what in Savea Mitchell, I think, is a really good example of this. You know, really outside of Alana, Denia, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, it seems like a lot of these kids came up through the Pike district. You guys all kind of knew each other and you guys have grown bonds and there's been some chemistry. And the reason why I bring that up is twofold. One, I think that's going to be rare moving forward to have a bunch of, junior high kids coming up and playing varsity and competing for a state championship together with just kind of the new rules and where they are. But the second is I think it makes a definitive difference in watching you guys play basketball. Am I reading that right? Where is there like a Pike pride there that maybe we don't really understand?
Honestly, we really make sure we hang out outside of practice and just outside of school so that we are bonding with each other. We get to know each other very well. So I feel like that goes onto the court while we're playing and stuff. Chemistry is really well.
I'm going to throw it back to Hank for a couple of questions, but go ahead and go ahead, Hank.
No, Danny, go ahead. I'm sorry. You're cut out there for a sec.
I was just going to tell you to introduce Bay. I mean, obviously you are one of the leaders of the team. We can tell that. You talked about how that's your role. And here you have this freshman, Savea Mitchell, comes in and everyone kind of knows about her and her college recruitment has already accelerated. Go ahead and tell us about her. And then Hank's going to ask her some questions.
Savea's a great player, honestly. She came in with high confidence, so that made it easier for us. She's a quick learner. With her having the looks that she does have, we make sure that we get her the ball a lot so she can continue to accelerate and get where she needs to go. We're very happy to have Savea on the team.
Yeah, Savea, we kind of touched on this last night, but for you coming in not only as a freshman, but joining it such a veteran Pike group, I guess, what has it been like for you inside the locker room, on the floor, kind of developing that chemistry and getting acquainted and acclimated with everybody?
I mean, like, I like get into stuff like fast and quick, but like learning like physical and stuff, getting physical and faster, really. Like we've been working in practice, like not opening up so much on defense, and they have really helped me on that, especially 40 because she brings energy on defense and all that.
Yeah. For you, as you kind of have made this jump to varsity, has it been pretty easy to fit in with everybody on the team?
Pretty much because I knew them outside of basketball. I really like came to a lot of games, like all their games last year, to really like a lot of chemistry. So
was that your decision? Like, why were you going to Pike games as an 8th grader? Was it kind of just to kind of get that running start and building chemistry?
yeah, really, and seeing how they play and how I'll fit in,
What'd you think?
I loved them last year. Honestly, I could tell like how we were gonna be this year, like how our energy was gonna be, everything, how they play together, and a force really on offense and defense.
Denai as a senior, like that has to be pretty cool last year, seeing this 8th grade kid coming out and like making that effort already to get to know you guys.
Yes. It showed us. It really showed us how much she really wanted it. Like, yeah.
On the physicality side of things, Savea, you mentioned that. What has it been like making that jump? Because I mean, you're a freshman playing against, a lot of 17, 18-year-olds that are looking to kind of beat you around a little bit. How's that been making that jump?
Man, I had to get in the weight room, honestly. Like absorbing the contact really before like anything happens, playing off two really helped me. And especially during AAU, I had to learn that too. And just like doing it in high school ball.
Denai, you've been in those shoes before. What is that like making that jump your first year playing varsity, even JV as a freshman and an underclassman?
It takes hard work. It really does. Especially with just coming in general, having to adjust quickly, getting coached up quickly. It could be hard, but you have to want it.
For both of you guys, it seems in watching you on the floor, obviously the chemistry's there, but then away from the floor, like just kind of taking in some of that celebration and stuff. Marley showing off her moves in the dance circle immediately after and everything. It seems like there's a genuine love and a genuine chemistry among you guys as a group. Is that fair to say? Is that an accurate assessment?
Yes.
Yeah. Where does that chemistry come from? And Denai, if you could, I guess too, just speak to how that's kind of cultivated and developed over the past couple of years.
Honestly, okay, well, we hang out a lot. Like, we make sure, like, without coaches, like, hey, let's go out to eat, let's do this, let's do that, just to make sure everybody's included, everyone knows each other outside of basketball. It definitely got better over years, I'll say. This year is, I just say, this year is the year that it's all coming together. Yeah.
Savea, how have you kind of seen it? Just even over since you started with the team in the summer, how have you seen it kind of grow and develop?
I feel like we talk a lot, like even in the group chats, all that, like going out to eat. That's literally all we do. Honestly, all we do is talk to each other, see what's going, like making sure we all like together all the time, and getting more chemistry. Only can build off that.
Hey, Vay, you can shoot the three. I think a lot of people know that, but I don't think anybody, when describing your game, would be like, that's what she does best. But you come out, and Keith asks you to make threes at the beginning of the year. You shoot 42%. Talk about that. In just having to play maybe a different role than what you're used to, or having to do things maybe that you don't do best, but it's best for the team. Is that something that you felt or had to work through or was difficult for you?
It was at first, but like being uncomfortable made me better at it. And I feel like Coach Hollins was doing that for me, especially because if I go to like one of the top colleges, I won't be one of the best players and alphas on that team yet. And just learning how to accept my role. Like, I'm going to get my chance regardless. So I knew that I had to just work and get the ball other ways, shoot the ball other ways, get my teammates involved other ways.
Well, he said you're going to get your shot. You got your shot in the championship game of the Marion County tournament when Keith played you. I mean, he gave you 15 ball screens, 16 ball screens in that basketball game. I mean, Savea was probably the best. It was probably the best basketball game maybe that you've ever played, understanding what the stakes were, understanding the other players that were on your team, understanding the other players that you were playing against with scheme and scout. What was that? Was that the game plan to attack them in ball screen in the middle third and give you an opportunity to try to make plays in ball screen? Or is that something that just happened organically through the game flow?
We knew like if they played man, they couldn't stop us going to the rim. So and if they did, I will always have Kamari 40 popping or Kamari coming from the duck in or in the corner. So we knew that was just unstoppable. And once we seen that, we just kept doing it.
That's really great. The how did that feel for you personally to have that kind of game where you got to drag Hedge away and kind of reattack it? You got some switches. I mean, I think you had 6 or 7 assists in that game also. I mean, you were really playing a complete kind of ball-centric game there. I mean, how did that feel for you? It really in such a big basketball game for your school.
It felt great, really. Giving us more confidence going into like other games, getting closer to the end and going to state for real.
That's awesome.
Go ahead, Dan. Do you have one more?
No, I usually do this like real eloquent thing. I was like, well, I'm going to ask you one more and then throw it back to Hank. And then I just stared at you.
I was waiting for it. This is a really professional operation we have here tonight, girls. It's been a long day. For both of you, what's it like playing for Keith? And if you have a Keith Hollins impression that you want to break out, Alana Devine has a very good one. I'm sitting on the video for a day when everybody needs a smile. But if you have any thoughts on playing for Keith, he never watches this show and doesn't listen to anything that I say. So feel free to say whatever you want.
Go first, Amir.
There you go. That's cool.
That means Denai's got a good one. I can't wait.
Wait, I gotta get the impression of him. Like,
you don't have to, or just like, what's it like playing for Keith? I guess more seriously.
I mean, like he wants to win, so like I love playing for him because his coaching is good. Like him leading me to like play more defense and fitting my role in, like that really helped me and it's going to help me in the future.
Denai, what about you? Oh, she's got a good one.
His coaching, I'll say it's amazing. Practice wise, he makes sure we work on like what we work on in the games, and then we also have times where we work on individual things. Like if I'm not as good at shooting, I'm shooting, and then people who need more help on defense, they're doing defense, just so we can all be on the same page and be equivalent. I say my best impression of him. Let me think. So anytime we scrimmage and anytime somebody come out, he be like, "I got it. Y'all ain't finna get me." He swear he think he's so good, man. He think he's so good.
I guess pretty dang good, Danny. I don't know about you.
It's actually really good, Denaya. It's
That's
so
phenomenal. I love that. What better way to end the interview? Denaya, Warren, Savea Mitchell, thank you guys so much for hopping on with us. It was a lot of fun. And actually, real quickly, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask. Lawrence Central coming up on Friday, I guess. Just how quickly did you guys kind of shift focus to the big game coming up now from County? I mean, did you really have 24 hours to enjoy that, or is it this morning you're right back on to Lawrence Central?
Honestly, last night it was celebrate. Today, right after school, it was get to work. Next game, improve, clean up the little things, get ready for the next game.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, again, girls, congratulations on the win yesterday. Best of luck here this weekend and moving forward, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Take care.
Good job, girls. Congratulations.
Denaya Warren, Savea Mitchell here with us. We'll have Kenzie Cook and Bella Sotelo here in just a second, waiting on Bella to hop on here. We talked about Pike Roncalli a lot at the beginning of the show, Danny, so let's talk a little bit while we wait for Bella to hop on about Eastern Hancock Lapel. I'll start the conversation with this since we're going to talk Eastern Hancock here in a minute. You started to see some signs of the pieces around Cook and Sotelo kind of developing a little bit like that. Some other girls making shots. Eddie Treckle came off a torn labrum. She suffered earlier this year. He knocked down a big three at a critical moment. They're making some plays, stirring some things up defensively. And with the way that Lapel was guarding Kenzie, she became more of a passer, got her teammates involved, and they were to step up with some big shots to keep that thing close. At points when it didn't look very like it was going to be a very good game, they found ways to claw their way back into that thing and really take a run and almost knock off an 11-0 Lapel team.
Yeah, good observation. Cook has shot 49 coming into the lapel game, had shot 49 3-point shots. Second on that team in the same amount of games was a freshman by the name of Becca Cooley. Cooley had shot 46 threes, only 3 less than Kenzie Cook, and she hit 2 big threes tonight. That is a microcosm of what they have to win a basketball game against a team like Lapel or like the Cathedral game that got canceled. They have to be able to get some production from that. So look, win or lose, the experience and the preparation that Eastern Hancock experienced to go on a run deep was going to be the same. Okay. I mean, it's just they only get they have so few of these basketball games that it's irresponsible for us in such a small sample size to be like, oh, well, they don't know how to win these games, or they do know how to win these games. The sample size is just so small. So you have to look for little signs. And I think one of the things that I think was really important was exactly what you said, which was that tertiary production. And I think it came from Becca Cooley tonight. If she can continue to make shots, it changes it almost changes the entire complexion of the team, because when they were in that box and won in the first half, I mean, Hank, these shots, I mean, they're wide open looks. Like, we aren't worried about you shooting the basketball. Go ahead and shoot. And they made a couple of them tonight.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. With that, we'll bring on Kenzie Cook and Bella Sotelo, who haven't been in school since Thursday.
Yeah,
Nope.
it's been a while.
Since Thursday.
God. Get to work, girls.
I don't know why they canceled it. No idea.
Yeah, there's no reason.
The disappointment in their voices, Danny, when they were telling me that they haven't been in school since Thursday, was both astonishing and a little troubling.
I know. It's what they do out there. You know?
So the other side of that is that with no school, it's been difficult to get to practices. And as we were talking, that made things a little difficult getting into today. How far into that game did it feel like you guys finally had your legs and felt like you were back into kind of a groove with things?
I would say because obviously the very beginning of the game they got on I think an 8-0 run, and it just took us a couple minutes and possessions to really get with the speed and the tempo of their game. I think we really started showing us getting comfortable right out of halftime. I think we were down 9 and then we came back right away, and then we were in the lead. And so I think that really showed because we were down 9 points, but I mean, our coach told us you can get 9 points in 30 seconds. I'm not worried about that. And I think we really showed that. And I think that made us more confident going along with the rest of the game. And I think we did very well after getting that lead.
Yeah, I agree with her. I think it definitely took us second quarter at least just to get the move of the game. We haven't played in a while. It just took us a little while to get back into it. But after halftime, we showed up and we came back a little bit. But yeah, it definitely sucks just not being awake on the first 2 quarters. That I feel like that would have helped us a lot. But
Kenzie, I got a question for you specifically. I think it's very easy for people like me and Hank to be like, oh, well, they need Becca Cooley to make shots, or they need Bella Sotelo to get to 20 or whatever. Take us into a pregame for you, in a Cathedral game or a Lawrence North game or a Lapel game or Triton Central. You only have so few of these opportunities to really play great competition. So when you approach that game, what are you thinking? What are you trying to do as Kenzie Cook to help Eastern Hancock get a W?
I mean, I guess I mean, obviously they're more exciting games. Some of the conference games we play, we don't go into that game as excited, obviously, as these big games. And like you said, we only have a few really good games this year, and adding more better teams onto our schedule. I think our main focus is obviously wins are awesome, but we added these teams to prepare us for sectionals because we felt we weren't very prepared last year, and we couldn't help that. I mean, we're a small school and we're trying to get big teams on our schedule, but going into games like this, we're just trying to nitpick and really find what we need to work on, because going against teams like that, you can see the flaws and you can really see what you need to work on. So that sucks losing those games, but you go into that and you're like, okay, we have this we need to work on. We have 3 months until sectionals. That's what we need to work on. And so me personally, I'm trying to, because wasn't expecting. I didn't know what Lapel was gonna run on us tonight. I thought they were gonna run like a 2-3 the entire time, and so I don't know when I'm gonna get face guarded every game. And so me personally, I just try to read the defense and see what they're running, and then based off that, kind of like guide my teammates to get Becca Cooley those 3-point looks and to get it in the middle. And I mean, me getting face guarded whenever those challenges are thrown on me, I think that immediately puts a little pressure on Bella because she's one of the better players on our team. So she's got to be the one to step up, and she has been able to step up every game. And so, I mean, going in those big games, it really challenges us. And I mean, yeah, it sucks we lost, but I think we found a lot of potential that we can have coming into the tournament in a couple months.
And Bella, you feel that sidekick, right? I mean, you feel like you are maybe the Robin to her Batman, or however you want to say that, right? But like, do you feel your importance on this basketball team? I'm sure in playing alongside Kenzie.
Yes.
Talk about that a little bit more.
Well, I know I know Kenzie's good, and so like I know they're gonna face guard her and like all this stuff, and so I just try to step up the best I can and just handle the ball, get open looks, and just try to carry the team even when like she's getting face guarded. Like I know it sucks. Like there's some girls that face guard me, and I like it just sucks. Like I just try to help her out and move the ball a little bit, just try to get her off for a little bit, but yeah.
Where do you? I mean, either of you can take this. Kenzie, I'll direct it at you first. All right. Like, where do you draw the line in making sure that you get your offensive game off and are super involved, but still taking responsible shots, right? I mean, like you don't want. Is it like a score situation thing? Do you just kind of wait till the fourth quarter, or how is that? How do you compartmentalize those decisions in your head in the middle of a game?
Taking like tonight as an example, I think early on when they immediately went to a box and one defense, I could tell I wasn't getting the jump shots that I usually get. I'd have to drive it a lot more. I could hardly get a 3 off against their defense. And so I think recognizing that, I needed to then like be like, okay, like I gotta get my teammates more involved. So giving them more looks. I mean, like you said, like there were some wide open looks. And so I think like recognizing those, me personally, like I don't want to just like chuck up a bunch of shots. And I think I needed to like realize like, okay, this is a smart shot based off this defense. I don't want to take this shot because of how they're playing defense against us. Like we got to find the right person. I think we did most of the game. I think we gave it to the right people. And I think like Bella, like, because they did like a half court like press on us at one point. That was right before I got my 3-pointer. And like, I don't know how Bella just like got around those two girls trying to like trap her in the corner, but she somehow got it to me. But like, it's stuff like that like she knew, like, because we were running the play for me to get 3-point play, like a shot off, because we were trying to tie it. And like that was the like responsible shot in that situation. We were trying to get that, and I don't know how we pulled it off on that point, but I mean those are the types of things that like you got to like recognize in the moment based off like what the clock was showing. We didn't have much time left.
Sure. I got one more for Bella, then I'll throw it back to Hank to kind of close you guys down. Kenzie, you heard some of our comments kind of leading into the interview about how you needed tertiary scoring. You're averaging 30 points per game. Bella, you're averaging 14 points per game. The narrative last year, Bella, though, was we needed secondary scoring. Like you were able to get your average up to near 15 points per game. I mean, you guys are together scoring 45 points per game. There's high school teams in the state that don't score 45 points for their entire team. So where is that offensive production coming from? And kind of what's your mindset in trying to score the basketball for Eastern Hancock?
Mine, well, I've been trying to shoot more threes, but like tonight I was not hitting. So like I just, after a couple, I was like, well, I'm just going to try to drive it and see if that works. Like, and I ended up hitting a couple jumpers, but like mainly if I'm pretty decent on defense. So I just try to get a steal. If I have a wide open layup, I go for it. And so that's mostly where all my points come from. But I also just try to, if there's an open jumper, I take it. But yeah, that's basically.
For both of you guys, would you describe the series that you've had with Lapel these last 3 years specifically as kind of like a little bit of a budding rivalry?
Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely.
me personally, like Lapel like feels more of a rival team than our actual rival.
Yeah,
Like that we play Friday. I don't know what about it, but like it's always been a fun game to play against them. It's
Yeah.
always been a close game. Um but like it's just like something about playing them, they just like they're very similar to us, I feel like, in certain ways. And so like just playing them, like when you play a team similar to you, like you gotta find other ways to score the basketball. And like it's just always fun playing them, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
I think it's just it's overall just always a competitive game. Like they never disappoint. Like it's just always been a good game, and they're decent. So like I think it's just fun to play against them, and I think it's more of a rival than, yeah, like Kenzie said, than our actual rival team. But I was looking forward to it. It's just a game you look forward to throughout the year. I had fun, but
Lanaya Will said the same thing about you guys. She brought it up and described it as kind of a rivalry and said the same thing as you guys, and that they kind of view it as the first measuring stick game for them getting into the season. And it feels like that way for you guys too. But the Lanaya Wills of it all, obviously, you guys are there tonight. She scored 2,000 career points. Just now that unless you both get to Gamebridge, which is certainly a possibility, you won't have to see her again. Just what has it been like for you guys these past 3 years having to play against that kid?
I mean, she's an amazing player. I mean, you can't like that's the simplest way to put it. She's earned every single accomplishment she's gotten. She's an outstanding player. She's an amazing person. I've seen her in AAU. We both played Under Armour this past summer, and so I saw her at multiple tournaments. And I mean, her game just it speaks for itself. You can tell she puts in all the work. I mean, I follow her on all socials, and like you can see like she puts in time. And she's just like she's very like you gotta respect her for that. Like she's not a dirty player. Like she's like smart, and she gets her team involved, and she's just a leader. And so I love playing against her.
yeah, like the past couple years playing against her, she's really good. Like she's earned everything, and like she makes like she's just an overall really good player, and just I've had fun playing against her. Like I just look forward to it. But
So to bring this thing full circle, do you guys get to go back to class tomorrow?
I hope not. I don't want to take my finals.
I think so, which sucks. But
But I mean, you never know. I thought we were gonna have school today, but I guess roads were too bad. I literally went to town today, and roads were perfectly fine. So I mean,
maybe
you
a
never know.
delay. Maybe delay.
Maybe delay. Yeah, tell them you're up late. Maybe you guys can just use this as an excuse to get out of class tomorrow. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Bella and Kenzie, thanks so much for hopping on with us. Great seeing you guys play tonight, and we'll talk again soon.
Of course. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See you, girls.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Hey, Hank.
Kenzie, Bella Sotelo. Yeah, Danny.
They said went to
Second
town.
start.
No. I mean, they
Hey, I
said
heard that too.
Kenzie goes, I went to town today. Okay. You never said that sentence in your life. And
No.
also, by the way, I am like trying to figure out, I don't want to interrupt your questions and your flow there, but who is their rival? Like because I guess what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to reinforce your point. Like Eastern Hancock and Lapel was just like the game. Like I got 5 texts to be like, hey, are you going to be at Lapel tonight? Are you going to be at Lapel tonight? Because that was the game that like, for both teams that you called it, or Lanaya called it a measuring stick. It's got 2 great players that are both going to be all-stars in their respective classes. But I also don't know who were they referencing? Is Shenandoah or Wapahani, I guess would be, I mean, I don't know. Or is it North Decatur? Do you know?
Knightstown, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it is though. Like you can tell, like there's some juice there. And honestly, a lot of the juice comes, and this is another thing that Lanaya said, when Kenzie Cook got there, because then it's kind of like they're separate about a year, but you kind of have that natural 2 elite level scorers, and it is fun watching them go at it because it's seldom that they go up against each other unless it's like Kenzie attacking the basket or some defensive rotation where she ends up on Lanaya, but that usually doesn't last very long because Lanaya is so tall and long. But it is fun to watch, and tonight was if that was the end of it, and I don't want to say that it was definitively the end because, again, a lot can happen and we could see them again at Gamebridge Fieldhouse. But if that was the last chapter of it, that was a pretty fun way, despite how it started, because it was a pretty horrific start. The way the second half of that game, when Kenzie was able to get loose, I mean, some of the passes that she had tonight were phenomenal. She had a 3/4 court pass where she like threaded the needle on the run to Bella Sotelo on the other end, hit her in stride. Sotelo hits the layup, I think, to make it a 2-point game or tie it. Lanaya had a play where she's barreling to the basket, has a defender on her left hip. Addie Trackwell, who I mentioned just came back in her first game back on her hip, goes all the way to basically the baseline to get an angle on the shot, hits the odd angle shot. And it was a circus shot. It was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Just watching those two not only grow and develop, but compete against each other head to head was a lot of fun. Like one last thought on that. Like I was thinking about that today and Kenzie kind of brought it up, but the first time that I talked to her was after the first time they played Lapel her freshman year. And it's just kind of crazy to see how that kid's developed. And I remember sitting in the Lapel library talking to Lanaya before the state championship game for the first time. And it's cool to see how that kid's developed both as a player and a person. Like it's just two tremendous talents. And it's been fun if that was in fact the last time that we see them against each other, watching them play.
Yeah, it was entertaining. That pass, by the way, that you're talking about that hit the streaking Sotelo, that I think it tied the game. That was with the left, by the way. Like she threw that ball 3 lengths to the court with her offhand. But Lanaya will, like Kenzie, I think had 24 tonight. I think Lanaya eclipsed 2000, had 33. Both of them probably had double doubles. Like Sherry Dowd, who's got hundreds of wins, is on the color commentary on the stream that I was watching. You could either watch the Eastern Hancock stream or the Lapel stream. The Eastern Hancock stream has Sherry Dowd, who was the head coach of the basketball team last year, on the color commentary. So that added a really interesting perspective because she was almost almost coaching the kids through the microphone, which was really fun to kind of listen to also. But both Lanaya and Kenzie's games have matured. It's obvious that kids of that skill level are going to get better. But I think what those kids are learning, and that's why I asked the questions that I asked, which was like, how do you go about in these games? It would be very easy for both of those kids to come down the floor every single possession and just shoot the basketball. But they don't. Yep. They play real ball. And that I think that speaks to the maturity and the experience and in an indication that those kids are going to be good college players. Lanaya at Butler and Kenzie at Ball State, both in state. So we're going to get to track this to see if I'm right. But the knock on those schedules is always like, oh, but they're not learning anything or they're not developing. Yeah, they are. Because when they get into a basketball game like that, they're not just doing what they do against whoever, Wapahani. Okay. So I just wanted to compliment those two kids and thank them for that Eastern Hancock Lapel rivalry, because it was really fun to watch. And as you said, and at the risk of redundancy, I think it was a really nice punctuation to that little series.
Agreed. Let's talk about Lapel. For those who want to hear from Lanaya Wills, I talked to her after the game. The video's on my Twitter feed, so go find that. I'll have it up on IndyStar.com, and I'll probably write something tomorrow morning on the game. But Lapel's good. Like, that's a legit 11-0 team, and we're going to start to see them against some really tough competition. They have another little, I forget who they play, but a game that should allow them to ramp up. Going into Wings and Rings later this week, a makeup game. But Wings and Rings, they open against Delta. They'll probably play Heritage Christian. They could see either South Knox or Borden then later in the event. So they're going to be tested. But that's a very complete-looking team. Like I commented to Newbie, just the difference of them last year to this year is crazy. Sophie Goodwin was phenomenal. She finished with, I think, 14 points for Lapel. She got them going right away with a three-pointer. She was making some shots. She's getting into basketball shape after such a deep run with the soccer team. Just so many different pieces for that Lapel team, all stepping up in different ways. They defended really well, and they still have room to grow. Similar to Pike, there are little lulls, little moments where you can tell, oh, there's some cracks. There's some moments where a team is still gaining that experience. But man, that's a really talented team, especially in the 2A ranks.
Well, let's take it back to when the high school audience maybe was first introduced to Lanaya Wills. That was when she played a great game in the state championship as a freshman. And so that's a kid who can bookend her career by perhaps getting back to that building. But the Lanaya Wills that played in the state championship last time was an athletic, long, springy, bouncy kind of player who could deflect the basketball or whatever. Now she's a kid who can go out and get 30 all from the 3-point line and mid-range. She can do it from the free throw line. She can do it in transition. She can do it by crashing the glass. She can do it with, her 10 toes facing the basket. She can do it with heels. Like the completion of her game over the last 4 years has been really fun to watch. And I thought tonight it was Sherry Dowd on the commentary called it a quiet. It was when she had 31. I think she finished with 33. That's unofficial. I think it was just Hank. Do you have the exact number? Was it 33?
Pulling it up right now. Yeah, while you're talking, I'll pull it up.
So, she said that she called it a quiet 31. And as soon as she said it, I was like, she has 31. Like I couldn't believe it. And that is, so I agree with Coach Dowd when she said that it was quiet. That's a very professional way to kind of go about playing in a game like that, right? And to see her maturity over the years, I think has been something to watch. But I also think that that's a kid who does have a really good chance to lead her basketball team back there as a bookend, because I just don't know what is there in 2A to get in the way of that.
Rensselaer.
Gosh, like Belmont's 3A. I don't even know who's up there in 2A, but whoever it is has to deal with that. Like, good luck. She's healthy now. She looks great. She's moving great. She's scoring the basketball, and let's see how far her career takes us.
Staying with that, the 2A, I was talking to one of the assistants about that before the game. Rensselaer Central looms in 2A North.
There it is.
They also go north. That one would be interesting again, but just the length and the Courtney Matthew kid. That'd be an interesting matchup. Whitco's having a really good season with the Stonebreaker sisters. That'd be an interesting one. But, I mean, again, similar to Ronkai, like you talked about in 3A, there's some good teams there. But Lapel's just, I mean, they're up there, and they're going to be battle tested too. But yeah, it is fascinating, and she's very open about how Lanaya is, to your point earlier, about how she's had to develop and grow as a leader. I wrote about that last year, about how she kind of really had to just reinvent her attitude and get more of how she's kind of developed into what the supporting person or supporting teammate that she is, just in terms of nurturing and fostering that development. And it's really cool just to see a kid literally grow up like that, and hearing her talk about it so maturely. And same thing, from Newbie, Zach Newby, the coach, too, just talking about it. And they're both very open about it. And just, she used to get angry and upset, and now she's learned to kind of just take a couple breaths and then find ways to give more positive reinforcement. And Lapel, similar to that Pike team that we talked to earlier, you can tell it's a very tight-knit group. And the Lanaya is at the very center, I think, of that team chemistry in such a tightly bonded group. And the way, like I said before, the way that those pieces surrounding her have come together has been really impressive.
Yeah. Hamilton Heights, by the way, that was one of there was a team that I was thinking that was kind of interesting to me. And record-wise, you just have to kind of look at what the finished products are, right? I think that's a team in the North that when all those freshmen kind of get together and start to kind of be who they are, that could trip them up. Let's keep our eye on January 20th. January 20th is going to be a game that Lapel has at Pendleton Heights. Pendleton Heights is a real team with Ada Hupfer, and we talked about them. We featured them on one of the episodes a couple of times ago after they had upset HSE. They go into Pendleton and get a W there. That's going to springboard them. That's because there's only 2 games after that that before sectional starts. Like if they get that one, I mean, they could be. I mean, they're 11-0 right now, and I mean, Connorsville's there. I mean, there's some teams that are there that can trip them up, but they're going to habitually be winners. So let's keep an eye on that 20th game.
They're going to be extremely heavy favorites going into that sectional. Regional's interesting because they could potentially draw Rensselaer in the regional, which would really suck because that's a semi-state game in my opinion. But the real intrigue here is, are they undefeated going into that Pendleton game? Wings and Rings will give them, like I said, Lapel or Delta in the first game at 9 a.m. and then they'll get the winner of Heritage Christian Floyd Central. Floyd Central would be an interesting one because you could get Elise Coleman versus Lanaya, or you could get Riley Johnson versus Lanaya. And then after that, it's some combination, or it's one of the four of South Knox, Borden, Northeastern, or Connorsville. I think that it's probably safe to say that it'd probably either be South Knox or Borden. I think that would be really interesting. Borden in particular would be a really fascinating matchup because they had the length that could cause some problems. That was one of the things tonight with Eastern Hancock was that they didn't have anybody size-wise that can match up with Lanaya inside. And there were times, especially in the first half, when you could see Newbie yelling at his players, just throw it over the top because you got Lanaya right there posting up. Throw it over the top to get it inside to her. Borden, I think, would make that a little more difficult maybe than what a South Knox would potentially. But yeah, that'll be interesting. And then like Danny said, that Pendleton Heights game will be a doozy.
Yeah, and I'll correct myself. And that's what you were doing when you're holding up the 3 because Hamilton Heights is 3A. My apologies for that. Yeah, just looking at it, Sheridan, graduated Kenzie Gardner. Alexandria graduated Jack Hosier. Those are 2A schools right there that are both on their schedule.
Both in that area.
Maybe you're right, dude. Is Lanaya Wills going to get us back to downtown? That'd be fantastic. What a fantastic story.
You know what, too, and I wrote about this in my mid-season wrap thing. I think that she needs to be getting some attention for the Miss Basketball. I don't know that if she winning it is a lot when you're coming from a smaller school, but I certainly think at the very least she should be considered among the finalists, just based off of body of work, because you have the state champion, the state runner-up run as a freshman. As a sophomore, she gets him back to semi-state and within reach of another run back to Gamebridge. And then last year, that team was extremely young. That was a young rebuilding team, and they still won 17 games. And who was at the center? Lanaya Wills. And again, that transformed her as a leader. So, it's not like it was an off year for anybody. They may not have made out of the section. They lost to a really good Sheridan team. But Lanaya was the one they're growing, developing, maturing as a leader that allowed them to win 17 games. So I think there's a lot there. And then obviously we're seeing what she's doing as a senior, averaging like almost 30 a game, and now has the 2,000 career points and 1,200 rebounds. So just a phenomenal run by Lanaya. And like I said, a really good team over there at Lapel.
Yep.
Any other games, Danny, that you want to get to?
We're running up against the time here. I streamed 3 or 4 games. Brownsburg Lawrence Central was probably the only one that's worth mentioning. There was Brownsburg came out and really put an early, I don't want to say scare, but early deficit in front of Lawrence Central. And it became very interesting because of what happened against Ben Davis and Ron Colley. You wanted to see if this is something that they could turn around, and they turned it around. Like, they answered the 12-point deficit with, I think, a 20-2 run. And what was interesting about Lawrence Central's run wasn't the run itself and wasn't the win. It was how they did it. They were definitive and aggressive with how they attacked the goal off the bounce. And that is something that I think, if you look at the way that maybe Cooper played it in Kentucky, certainly the way that Ron Colley played them, certainly the way that most people would play them, it is, we're going to pack the lane and play in the pack line and switch everything. And Josh and Brownsburg did a lot of that tonight. But Lawrence Central did a great job of finding just enough space, particularly in quarter court, where it's very difficult to do that, and got driving lanes. I felt like every time you looked up, and the next time we talk to Josh, we can talk about different teams on the South, but it just seemed like Lola Lampley and Kiki Butler and Hollowell and Hyatt, and it didn't matter who it was. It just seemed like all they did in the second half was shoot and make layups.
Yeah. Good game coming up on Friday between Lawrence Central and Pike. I'm really interested to see how Lawrence Central handles the physicality that Pike brings. And for Pike, I'm curious to see how they stack up with Lawrence Central. That game was a little bit lopsided last year, at least in the county tournament, as our memory serves. So the rematch this year is going to be very interesting to watch. But that's all I got. Stay tuned to IndyStar for a story from that game tonight on Lanai scoring a 2,000 point in that budding El Lapel Eastern Hancock rivalry. Danny and I will probably be back at the end of the week. I'm going to do something with Soak and then potentially Danny at Hall of Fame next week. So plenty of coverage to come. Also tomorrow, the viewer's guide to the holiday tournaments. We'll get that underway, get that posted. 12 different tournaments for everybody to go check out this break. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll talk to you again in a few days.